We need to see your marks. All of them. Now. 11 words. 23 Japanese women freeze. August 15th, 1945, the Philippines. Japan surrendered yesterday, but these women just became prisoners. The American medical officer stands in the doorway, clipboard in hand, waiting. But he's not holding medical tools. He's holding photographs. Yuki's throat tightens. Around her, 22 other women are backing against the bamboo walls. They've heard what happens when victorious armies want to examine female prisoners. The propaganda was specific, detailed, terrifying. Karada o miseru, shinu hogamashi. Show our bodies, death would be better. The humidity is thick as soup. Sweat runs down Yuki's back, making her uniform stick to healing wounds. Wounds that are only 3 days old. Wounds the Americans don't know about yet. The medical officer, Captain Harrison from Nebraska, doesn't look like a monster. He's maybe 30. Wedding ring. Tired eyes. But he's spreading photographs across the wooden table, and every woman in this room thinks she knows what comes next. Only 200 Japanese women POWs in American custody across the entire Pacific. 23 here, and 78% have untreated injuries, burns, shrapnel wounds, infections that could kill them within days if untreated. But that's not what the photographs show. Quick question, drop a comment below. What year are you watching this in? I want to know if this story is still being discovered decades from now. The interpreter, a Nisei sergeant from Hawaii, translates again. Slower this time. The doctor needs to see your marks, old scars, new wounds, everything. Michiko, the oldest at 31, speaks for the group. Her voice barely carries across the thick air. Why? The captain arranges the photographs in rows. His clipboard clangs against the metal table leg. The sound makes everyone flinch. These women have learned that metallic sounds mean pain. Bombs, bullets, batons. But the captain isn't reaching for weapons. He's reaching for evidence. The fan overhead churns the humid air, spreading the smell of disinfectant and fear. August in the Philippines feels like breathing through wet cotton. The captain's uniform shows sweat stains despite the early morning hour. He picks up one photograph, shows it to the interpreter. The sergeant's face changes. He translates something that makes no sense. These are pictures of Allied prisoners, tortured. The doctor needs to match patterns. The doctor spreads 20 photographs on the table, all showing torture marks. The photographs show American and British POWs, Australians, Dutch, all with identical scar patterns, parallel lines from bamboo beatings, circular burns from cigarettes, specific cuts from ritual punishments. Captain Harrison points to one photo, a British soldier's back, 5 parallel scars, exactly 2 inches apart. He speaks slowly, letting the interpreter keep pace. These patterns are evidence. War crimes trials start next month. Where gayata koto no shoko o sagashite iru. They're looking for evidence of what we did. But these women didn't do anything. They were nurses, radio operators, clerks. The youngest, Keiko, is 17. She joined the military to escape an arranged marriage. Now she's staring at photographs of tortured men, wondering if the Americans think she held the bamboo cane. 3,500 Allied POWs tortured by specific Japanese units. The Americans are documenting everything, 47 camps, hundreds of witness testimonies. They need to match injuries to perpetrators, camps to commanders, orders to outcomes. The paper rustles as Harrison flips through more photos. Sweat drips from his forehead onto one image, blurring the bruises on a Dutch prisoner's ribs. He wipes it quickly, apologetically, like the photograph itself deserves respect. Yuki shifts her weight. The movement makes her wince. Her ribs hurt. 3 days ago, during capture, an American MP grabbed her hard enough to leave marks. Marks that match none of these photographs. Marks that tell a different story. The interpreter, Sergeant Tanaka, is sweating more than the heat justifies. He knows something these women don't. The Americans aren't just documenting Japanese cruelty. They're building cases, big ones, the kind that end with nooses. Harrison pulls out a camera, German-made, probably captured. The lens cap clicks as he removes it. We need to photograph and document every scar for the trials. Michiko steps forward. She has scars. Old ones from 1937, new ones from last week. But most aren't from combat. They're from her own officers. The kind of marks that appear when you refuse certain orders. The fan struggles against the humidity. Papers flutter. One photograph slides off the table. A Filipino gorilla's chest, marked with kanji characters carved into skin. Keiko picks it up. Her hands shake. These men, Harrison says, deserve justice. Their injuries need to be matched to their torturers. But Yuki has marks that match none of the photos, because hers came from Americans. Yuki pulls her collar higher, but it's too late. The bruises on her neck are purple fresh, 3 days old, the exact shape of fingers. American fingers. Not from combat, from capture. Captain Harrison notices immediately. His eyes narrow. He's seen thousands of injury patterns. These don't match any Japanese torture technique. They match something else, something that shouldn't exist. America jin mo onaji da. Americans are the same. She whispers it, but Sergeant Tanaka hears. His translation stops mid-sentence. The captain leans forward. What marks are those? The fabric of Yuki's uniform sticks to her wounds. When she moves, you can hear it. Wet cotton pulling away from the scabs. The sound makes everyone uncomfortable. It's too intimate, too real. 31% of female POWs are injured during capture. Most never report it. Why would they? They're the enemy. They lost. This is what happens when you lose. But Harrison isn't looking at her like she's the enemy. He's looking at her like she's evidence of something else. Something wrong on his side of the war. Who did this? He asks it in English first, then gestures for Tanaka to translate. Yuki shakes her head, but her body betrays her. When footsteps pass outside, American MPs on patrol, she flinches, backs against the wall. Classic trauma response. Harrison has seen it before, but usually in Allied prisoners afraid of Japanese guards. The iodine bottle on his medical kit reflects the morning light. Its sharp smell cuts through the humidity. He hasn't opened it yet, but everyone knows that smell. It means cleaning wounds. It means stinging pain. It means someone trying to help. 3 nights ago. Victory celebration. The MPs were drunk on captured sake. They found the women hiding in a supply depot. What happened next wasn't torture, wasn't interrogation, was something older, uglier. Thompson. That was the name she heard. Staff Sergeant Thompson from Alabama, big man, class ring on his right hand. The ring left a specific pattern when he grabbed her throat, pushed her against the wall, told her what he thought of Jap bitches. Harrison pulls out his camera again, different intent now. I need to document these too. The shutter hasn't clicked yet, but Yuki knows. These photos won't be for prosecuting Japanese war crimes. The doctor's face changes when he sees the bruise pattern. He recognizes it. Harrison has seen this exact ring pattern before. 3 times. Same shape, same size, same placement on the throat. Alabama State University, class of 1938. He knows because he documented it on a Filipino woman 2 weeks ago. Staff Sergeant Thompson's ring. The captain's pencil scratches across paper. not writing medical notes, writing evidence. The sound fills the silent barracks. 23 women watch an American officer document American crimes against Japanese prisoners. Kare wa shita iru, demo nanimo shinai. He knows, but does nothing. Michiko says it with resignation. She's wrong. Harrison is doing something that could destroy his career. He's building a case against his own men. 4 previous complaints about Thompson's unit. 0 investigations opened. The excuse was always the same. Fog of war, heat of victory, impossible to prove. But bruises shaped like class rings are hard to explain away. The camera shutter clicks. Once, twice. Harrison adjusts the angle to catch how the bruising wraps around to the back of Yuki's neck. Thompson is right-handed. The pattern confirms it. These aren't defensive wounds. These are control wounds. Dominance wounds. Harrison opens a second notebook. Red cover instead of black. This one isn't for Japanese war crimes. This one stays in his locked footlocker. This one contains 4 other incidents. Filipino, women, Chinese refugees, even a Dutch nurse who was mistakenly rough-handled during liberation. The fan blade catches, stops, starts again with a grinding sound. Nobody fixes it. Everyone's frozen, watching something impossible. An American officer taking the enemy's side against his own troops. Turn around, Harrison says gently. I need to photograph your back. Yuki turns. Through the thin fabric, more bruises are visible. Rifle butt to the spine. Boot print on the lower back. Thompson's signature move. He likes to knock them down first. Harrison has seen this pattern too. Sergeant Tanaka's hands shake as he translates. He's thinking about his sister in California. Thinking about what could have happened if Japan had invaded. Thinking about how uniforms don't change what men become when they think nobody's watching. Harrison finishes photographing, closes the camera, then opens his medical kit and starts treating wounds he knows Americans caused. The iodine stings. Yuki doesn't flinch. She's had worse. They all have. Then the doctor does something that could end his career. He calls for the camp commander. Colonel Mitchell arrives in 12 minutes. 52 years old. Fought in both wars. Has 3 daughters back in Ohio. When Harrison shows him the photographs, Japanese torture victims and American-inflicted wounds side by side, his face turns red, then white, then red again. Thompson? One word, a question and verdict combined. Harrison nods, shows the matching ring patterns. The Filipino woman from 2 weeks ago, the Chinese refugees, now Yuki, same signature, same unit, same excuse that it never happened. Shikashi, where wateki da. But we are the enemy. Michiko says it to the interpreter, not expecting anyone to care. But Mitchell speaks enough Japanese to understand. He learned it preparing for the invasion that never came. He turns to her. Enemy or not, you're under my protection now. His fist hits the desk. Papers scatter. The photographs of tortured Allied POWs mix with images of Japanese women bearing American-inflicted wounds. The irony is sharp enough to cut. Court-martial conviction rate for POW abuse, 89% when properly documented. Mitchell knows the statistics. He also knows what happens to officers who don't maintain discipline, who let victory become license for cruelty. Thompson was drunk 3 nights ago. Victory's sake stolen from Japanese supplies. The whole unit was celebrating. Japan had surrendered. The war was over. Time to collect what victors always collect from the defeated. Except Mitchell runs a different kind of camp. Get Thompson. Get his whole unit. Bring them here, now. The order travels. You can track its progress through the camp. Runners sprinting, sergeants shouting, boots scrambling. Within minutes, The machinery of military justice starts turning. Harrison keeps photographing, documenting every bruise, cut, scrape, both old and new, Japanese inflicted and American inflicted, building parallel cases. Because justice shouldn't wear a uniform. The women watch in stunned silence. They expected to be documenting their crimes against Americans. Instead, Americans are documenting American crimes against them. The world has flipped upside down. Mitchell pulls out his own notebook, starts writing orders, court-martial proceedings, witness testimonies, evidence collection, all for crimes against enemy prisoners, female enemy prisoners, the kind of victims nobody usually cares about. Sergeant Tanaka, tell them they'll need to identify their attackers. Today, the commander orders something unprecedented. Japanese women will identify their American abusers. 23 women face 12 MPs. The power dynamic reversed. The occupiers becoming the occupied. Thompson stands third from left, his class ring still on his finger. He's smirking until he sees Colonel Mitchell's face. Yuki steps forward first, points, no hesitation. Him. Thompson's smirk dies. Two more women step forward, Keiko and a radio operator named Fumiko. Same man, same 3 nights ago, same drunken victory celebration that turned into something else. Seigi? Senso ni seigi wa nai. Justice? There's no justice in war. But Michiko is wrong. Right now, in this moment, justice is happening. An American colonel is believing Japanese women over American soldiers. The impossible is becoming possible. The boots shuffle on concrete. Nervous energy from the MPs. They thought they were untouchable, victors, heroes. Instead, they're standing in a lineup being identified by women they considered spoils of war. Thompson tries to speak. Sir, these are enemy combatants. They're lying. Mitchell cuts him off. Shut your mouth, Sergeant. The silence that follows is heavy. You can hear breathing. 12 MPs breathing fast and shallow. 23 women breathing steady and deep. They've survived worse than this moment. 6 months hard labor. That's what Thompson will serve. Reduction in rank. Dishonorable discharge. His life destroyed because he thought victory meant permission. Because he thought nobody would believe enemy women over American heroes. Harrison keeps photographing. Every identification, every pointed finger, every face, American shame and Japanese vindication. These photos will end up in files that historians will find decades later. Proof that sometimes, rarely, justice crosses enemy lines. Keiko is 17, the same age as Mitchell's youngest daughter. When she points at Thompson, her hand doesn't shake. She's been through Japanese military training, American capture, and now this. She's stronger than any of these MPs will ever be. The identification takes 40 minutes. 3 women identify Thompson. 2 identify Corporal Banks. 1 identifies Private Morrison, not for assault, but for stealing her mother's photograph, the only thing she had left. Each identification gets documented, photographed, witnessed, official. The MPs are marched out under guard, their own brothers in arms arresting them. The ultimate betrayal, they think. They're wrong. The betrayal was 3 nights ago when they forgot what they were fighting for. But the real revelation comes when they examine Michiko's marks. Michiko's scars tell a different story. Older, deeper, the kind that healed badly because nobody treated them. Harrison traces one with his finger. It runs from her shoulder blade to her spine. This wasn't from combat. How old? He asks. 1937, Shanghai. The room goes silent. 1937 was before Pearl Harbor, before America entered the war. These scars are from her own people. Nippon gun ga watashi ni shitakoto wa America jin yori hidoi. What the Japanese army did to me was worse than Americans. She unbuttons her shirt, shows more scars, cigarette burns in perfect circles, whip marks, the kind of systematic pattern that only comes from repeated punishment. The other women look away. They know what these marks mean. Comfort station. The words nobody says aloud. 200,000 comfort women across the Japanese Empire. Less than 100 documented escape attempts. 12 known survivors of those attempts. Michiko is one of them. She tried to run from the officers' comfort station in Shanghai. They caught her at the river. The punishment was public. A lesson for the other girls. Don't run. Don't refuse. Don't fight back. But Michiko survived what should have killed her. Why document these? She asks Harrison through the interpreter. These aren't American crimes. No, Harrison says quietly. But they're crimes. And someone should know. The fan creaks overhead. The humidity makes everything stick. Clothes to skin, papers to table, past to present. Michiko's scars are a map of 8 years of survival, Japanese cruelty, American documentation, the strange intersection of enemy and witness. Sergeant Tanaka's voice cracks as he translates. His mother was from Nagasaki, his father from San Francisco. He stands between two worlds, translating more than words, translating pain that transcends nationality. Harrison photographs each scar, labels them, dates them when possible. 1937, Shanghai Comfort Station. 1942, punishment for refusing an officer. 1944, escape attempt in Manila. 1945, shrapnel from American bombing. Her body is a timeline of war crimes. The other women watch. Some have similar scars hidden under their uniforms, marks they'll never show, stories they'll never tell. But seeing Michiko's courage, seeing an American doctor document them with respect, something shifts. These will be evidence, Harrison says. Not against you. For you. The American doctor asks to document her Japanese military scars for different trials. For 3 hours, Harrison photographs every scar. Japanese military torture, American MP brutality, combat wounds, self-inflicted marks from suicide attempts. Each image, numbered, catalogued, witnessed. Michiko becomes the first comfort woman testimony officially recorded by American forces. The camera shutter clicks rhythmically, like a heartbeat, like a clock, like history being made one frame at a time. Watashi no kizu ga shoko ni naru nante. My scars becoming evidence, never imagined. Harrison uses 3 rolls of film, 64 photographs. Her back alone takes 12 shots, each angle revealing different layers of damage. The whip marks from 1937 crisscross with shrapnel scars from 1945. 8 years of war written on skin. The testimony gets typed in triplicate. Carbon paper between sheets. The typewriter is Japanese, captured from their communications unit. The irony of documenting Japanese war crimes on a Japanese typewriter isn't lost on anyone. 7 war crimes trials will use her testimony. 3 convictions will result. Not for the Americans who hurt Yuki. That's different paperwork, different justice. But for the Japanese officers who ran the comfort stations, who turned women into military equipment. The fan blades whir overhead, pushing humid air in circles, going nowhere, like trauma, like memory, like the stories these women carry that nobody wanted to hear until today. Michiko talks for 2 of the 3 hours. Through Tanaka, she names names. Colonel Yamamoto in Shanghai, Captain Sato in Manila, Lieutenant Ito, who liked to burn girls who cried. She remembers everything. Dates, places, other victims who didn't survive. Harrison writes until his hand cramps. switches to his left hand, keeps writing. This isn't just medical documentation anymore. It's testimony that will reshape how the world understands comfort women. First-hand evidence from someone who survived the unsurvivable. The other women start talking too. Quietly at first, then louder. Their own stories. Not all were comfort women, but all were women in war. They've seen things, done things, survived things. The American doctor documents it all. By noon, the humidity is unbearable. Harrison's uniform is soaked. The women fan themselves with captured Japanese newspapers, but nobody suggests stopping. This moment, enemy documenting enemy crimes with compassion, won't come again. Keiko, 17, shows cigarette burns on her ankles from her own sergeant for refusing his advances. Harrison photographs those too. 43 years later, those photographs resurface in an unexpected place. Tokyo War Museum, 1988. Michiko is 72 now, gray hair, grandchildren, a life rebuilt from ashes. She walks into the new exhibit and stops. There on the wall, her scars. Harrison's photographs, blown up 10 times larger than life. The placard reads, First Comfort Woman Testimony, documented by Captain James Harrison, U.S. Army Medical Corps, August 1945. Kizu wa kieru koto wa nai, demo imi wa kairu koto ga dekiru. Scars never disappear, but their meaning can change. 50,000 visitors will see this exhibit in its first month. School groups, survivors, children of survivors. Even some American veterans who remember Harrison, who died in 1976, never knowing his documentation would become this important. The museum invited her to speak. She tells both stories, Japanese cruelty and American kindness, how enemies became witnesses, how documentation became justice, how a medical examination meant to find Japanese war crimes uncovered something universal about war itself. In 1991, her testimony, Harrison's photographs, will push the Japanese government to officially acknowledge comfort women for the first time. 46 years after those pictures were taken in a humid Philippine barracks. The museum lights hum. Footsteps echo on marble. A school group stops at her photograph. The teacher explains in hushed tones what comfort women were. The children stare at the scars. One asks why the American doctor helped her. Michiko answers, because he saw a human being, not an enemy. She survived when others didn't because of a secret, penicillin. Harrison gave her American penicillin for an infection that would have killed her. The enemy's medicine saving the enemy's victim from the enemy's torture. War makes no sense when you examine it too closely. Yuki is here too, 63 now. She never forgot Thompson's face, but she also never forgot Mitchell's justice, Harrison's documentation, the day American military law protected Japanese women from American soldiers. They stand together, former enemies, former prisoners, former victims, in front of photographs that changed history. Their scars displayed not for shame but for education, for proof, for the girls still being hurt in wars still being fought. A young woman approaches. Her grandfather was Thompson. She spent years tracing his shame, trying to understand. She bows deeply, apologizes in broken Japanese. Michiko takes her hands, says in English learned over 40 years, "You are not your grandfather's sins." The cycle breaks here, in a museum, with photographs, with truth. Marks meant for shame became evidence. Evidence became justice. Justice became history. History became healing.